Captain's walk is Rudy Leishman. The captain, Ian Wilson, winning 7, sponsored by American Associates.
FOSROC Super Series Championship comes from Goldenacre as Heriot's Rugby go. We've only seen these teams in action once so far, with Heriot thumping Boroughmuir 51 points to 14 in round 1, while Stirling Wolves suffered a narrow home defeat by 28 points to 26 against Ayrshire Bulls last weekend. I'm joined in commentary this evening by former Scotland winger Lee Jones.
Thanks Bruce, good to be here for round 3. As you mentioned, we've only seen each of these sides once. Heriot's with early statement of intent in round 1 against Boroughmuir, and Stirling rolling out last week at home against Ayrshire Bulls, and that was a narrow loss for them. So both these teams will be excited to get into the swing of the season now, having had their week off the way that the league's operating now. So yeah, I think we'll be in for a good match tonight.
The home side on your screen now, and they start with a front row of Chris Keane, Cammy Fenton and Ewan McLaren. Second row pairing of Ronan Sadak and Jamie Campbell, and in the back row Charlie Jupp and Rory Leishman join captain Ian Wilson. A half-back pairing of St John Broad and Bruce Houston. The centres are Grant Hughes and Matt Davidson, with Lewis Wells, George Barber and Ross Jones making up the back 3. And for the visitors, Stirling Wolves, their front row Liam Quorm, Gregor Hiddleston and Marius Tamosetis. Second row is Hamish Ferguson and James Pow, and Connor Gordon, the vice captain, is in the back row with Tom Smith and Ed Hasdell. Their half-back pairing is Eric Davey and Craig Jackson. Centres are Craig Jardine and Marcus Holden, with Mikey Heron and Ross McKnight joining Glenn Bryce in the visitors' back 3. And 2 strong sides. Lee, pick us out 1 or 2 players who you think might be key this afternoon.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Heriot's made a strong start to the season. I think they've got an unchanged backline, and Ben Cairn said that was a difficult selection process, having gone so well in that first game. I'd probably pick out the 2 centres there, and Grant Hughes and Matt Davidson, coming off the back of playing together with Scotland Sevens. They've offered a real point of difference for Heriot's in the centre there. And looking at the back 3 for Stirling, you've got Glenn Bryce in there, you've got Ross McKnight, who's also been involved with a bit of Sevens, and looking forward to him putting in a performance tonight.
A referee this afternoon, Rory Campbell, assisted by Michael Todd and Kieran Stark, and it was Craig Jackson. Stirling Wolves stand off today and kicked off the match, and it's Heriot's Rugby back in their own 22, looking to clear up field through Bruce Houston, former Ulster and Edinburgh fly half. It's back again with Craig Jackson, just looking for space in behind. It's taken well. Mark called back in the Heriot's 22. There's Ross Jones, the fullback, and sends a long kick up the stand side. Finds a very good touch just outside the Stirling Wolves 22.
Yeah, strong start for Heriot's. Both teams just looking for that early field position. It looks like great conditions here at Goldenacre, and the pitch is looking in good condition.
It goes to Hamish Ferguson at the front of the Wolves line out, and just drive 4 or 5 metres forward. Scrum half Eric Davey reaching in for that. Puts boot to ball. And it's taken well at the back as Lewis Wells, Heriot's Rugby left wing, fights his way up over halfway, and then Heriot's put the ball through the hands and out quickly to the right flank with George Barber. Tackled on the Stirling Wolves 10-metre line. Good quick hands there, but couldn't be taken cleanly. Ball knocked on. The referee playing an advantage as the Heriot's front row looked to combine. It couldn't be taken cleanly. Cammy Fenton, the man to knock the ball on from the tip on by Ewan McLaren, looking for holes in that Stirling Wolves defence.
Yeah, you see the statement of intent with a bit of width on the ball off the counter attack for Heriot. So it was a good take by Lewis Wells in the backfield. That really got them onto the front foot, and then the intent to move that ball to space on the width. And Heriots were just unfortunate with a wee tip-on pass in the middle there. But you could see that they're looking to move the ball. They're trying to move the Stirling defence around early in the game.
Eric Davey, well, he was in the centre of your shot just now. You can see the 9 jersey. It's for Stirling Wolves, first scrum of the day. Straight to the feet of number 8, Ed Hasdell, and away they go to the left. Wearing the 21 jersey, been some changes. I think that's perhaps Ross McKnight. The 24 jersey on. We'll just sort out the numbers for you. And Stirling Wolves go away to the right and take play up towards the Heriot's 10-metre line. He said pitch in fantastic condition. Eric Davey again just sweeps the ball away in good quick hands as Ed Hasdell almost through a gap, and then Glenn Bryce in at first receiver. He's wrestled to the ground. And that is in fact Ross McKnight with the 24 jersey on. He goes in to act as scrum half. And the Wolves still just probing for gaps, and Marcus Holden had to reach down. I was about to say that was good hands by the Stirling Wolves captain, but the referee, Rory Campbell, on the spot there says that he did in fact knock the ball on. And Stirling Wolves going through phases there, but the Heriot's Rugby defence looking solid.
Yeah, they're doing well to slow down the ball a bit, and they'll be happy with that first set of defence. Glenn Bryce getting himself in for Stirling Wolves at first receiver on occasion, and he got Ed Hasdell into a good gap there. But ultimately, Heriot's defence coming out on top in the first one. They forced the knock on, and they'll go to the scrum.
So Heriot's Rugby feed this time. St John Broad standing with ball in hand. Back to the feet of Rory Leishman, who comes in today for Callum Anderson. And we will see later in the game the switch of side there by Heriot's. Boot the ball once again and send that long into the Stirling Wolves 22, and Glenn Bryce has to hurry in the end. Not his best kick. St John Broad is standing to show the touch judge exactly where that had gone out of the field of play. So Cammy Fenton to throw into his first line out. Ronan Sadak at the front, Jamie Campbell the option in the middle. They go to the back to Leishman, and away comes the captain, Ian Wilson. Heriot's now on the attack, working their way up towards the Stirling Wolves 22. St John Broad away again, ball out the back, with George Barber popping up, the right winger on the left. And again through the forwards up to the 22 now. The referee playing an advantage here, so free ball. What will Heriot's opt to do here? Broad in again to Houston, lovely little inside ball, and clean through the middle as the centres combine. The offload, which would have been a scoring pass, but the referee again on the spot. Knock on, lovely break, clean through the middle by Heriot's Rugby.
Yeah, Heriot's are looking really purposeful in their attack. It looks like they know what they're trying to do, where they're trying to go, and they're generating a bit of pace on the ball. Just here, the two centres in combination. Ball out the back to Grant Hughes. Matt Davison was on the inside trail line, and great footwork to beat the fullback. Just unfortunate with the offload.
Well, you did pick out the two centres, Hughes and Davidson, combining beautifully there. That last pass not going to hand. The referee was playing an advantage to Heriot's. And Bruce Houston just prods that one into touch, just out in front of the clubroom windows at Goldenacre. Cammy Fenton again with some good options in this Heriot's line out. Sadak, Campbell and Leishman in particular, and once again it's Leishman who rises high, and the ball fed back to Ian Wilson. How many times have we seen Wilson at the back of this, driving forward, inching towards the Stirling Wolves try line, and now They break up and they do go over for the score. And it is Ian Wilson, the captain, with first points of the match. It's Heriot's Rugby 5, Stirling Wolves 0.
He's got a good track record, hasn't he, Ian Wilson, coming off the back of the sprint season where he got over for a few tries, and he starts off this game in the same manner. As I mentioned, Heriot's just looking really purposeful and good intent in their play, and that carried into the driving maul. It's efficient work. I think they've been really smart so far about where they've played the game. If we roll it back, we've seen the scrum play where they faked to the one side, pulled the full back across, and then put the kick in that gave them the territory. And then they've been really good in their lead up, and we've seen Matt Davison's break and then kick to the corner. It's a really good opening 8 minutes from Heriot, and Ben Cairns will be really pleased.
Bruce Houston then looking to add the extras from out wide on the stand side of the pitch. A wonderful kicker, Houston. No surprise to see the flags go up there. Extends the Heriot's lead out to 7 points. It's always interesting that Ian Wilson is so experienced and solid at the back of that maul, where most teams will get the ball to their hooker. But you see Heriot's just put the hooker in the drive there, and Wilson works his way to the back of the maul. I've seen him score so many tries from that position. And Heriot's well worth their 7-0 advantage.
I do wonder if there was any negotiation with Cammy Fenton on that one, or Michael Linnis. But Ian Wilson managing to stay in control at the back there.
And Heriot's showing ambition back in their 22. Well, in fact, just moving the ball wide to clear the ball. A loose pass by Bryce, but it's picked up by Craig Jackson. And he finds a good touch down the Stirling left flank.
That's a good result for Heriot's. Line out on the halfway line after receiving the kickoff. You could see they shape to go to width. Always a good option, because if it's on to run, you can run. If not, they've got Grant Hughes there, who was rightly put boot to ball, which forced Stirling to exit on the halfway. So yeah, so far we've seen a couple of really intelligent plays from that Heriot's backline.
Well, couldn't quite be taken by Jamie Campbell in the middle there. So a chance for Stirling Wolves to attack through Jardine. Come the hands from Heriot, but can't quite get the steal. Ball played away by Eric Davey. Stirling Wolves looking to bounce back from that Wilson try. Davey again off to Craig Jackson, the inside ball to Gregor Hiddleston, the hooker. Stirling Wolves playing some quick rugby here. It's Craig Jackson on the spot, but telling Eric Davey to go away to the right instead. Now Jackson is in place to take the ball from his half-back partner. Drops the ball off to the forwards, but Hamish Ferguson unable to take that advantage. Being played to Heriot's here. Again, they look to play out with their own half. St John Broad, the bouncing pass here to Cammy Fenton, and the footwork by the hooker takes it into contact. Broad away again. And once more, Heriot's Rugby showing ambition. Still on their own 10-metre line. Still through the forwards. Broad hurrying in and changes play. Tried to combine with George Barber there. Tackle comes in from Stirling Wolves. The referee telling the Wolves to make sure they stay onside, keeping Heriot's pen back inside their 40 here. And now, having gone nowhere, they will put boot to ball, and it's Bruce Houston. Sends that high. Taken well by McKnight, big strong left wing for Stirling Wolves. However, in come the hands from Heriot's Rugby. They've been challenging at the breakdown, and they get some joy on this occasion. And the referee Rory Campbell awarding the penalty to Heriot's.
Yeah, Ronan Sadak, I think, great position over ball here. Ross McKnight comes back, route one, returning the kick there, but the low chop tackle, and Ronan Sadak's in there, really sharp, and it's a genuine turnover, well earned there.
You can see the physical nature of Ross McKnight's game as he went into contact there. Very dangerous runner, but dealt with well by the Heriot's rugby defence. Again, it allows the home side to set up a position just on the edge of the Stirling Wolves 22. Cammy Fenton just a little bit astray with his last throw, couldn't quite find Campbell. Leishman has been his go-to man, and this time the ball fed back, and once more in fact to Ian Wilson. 20 metres or so to go, but they're working their way towards that try line. Stirling Wolves defence rather breaking up here. Sadak chopped down. St John Broad plays that a little bit wider. Heriot's rugby again looking to play quickly here, put the Stirling defence under pressure. Lovely step there by Ross Jones, looks to combine with his winger George Barber. And has he got that ball down? He has indeed. It looked like he perhaps bounced it there. Ross Jones combining beautifully with his winger. And it's George Barber who goes over for the score.
Yeah, that's a great finish in the end there, as we were probably expecting another phase of play. He's managed to get over there and reach. Great work from Ross Jones with the take and give. And good power. I think it was Lewis Wells.
It was Lewis Wells, you're absolutely right, the left winger.
Yeah, the catch and fend, just Ross Jones stands up his man, which buys a little bit extra time to get that pass away. Heriot's on the far side just got their driving maul going. They managed to split the Stirling defence a bit, and then it was almost a race to get to that far corner, a race round the corner. A couple of helps, they sent Grant Hughes up the middle, and then quick ball. And as I say, good work by Ross Jones, and a strong finish by Lewis Wells.
Yes, apologies to Wells. I think credit to George Barber, who was on the spot there looking for a pass. It's back three, all in attendance. And Bruce Houston, again from a difficult position, out wide with a wonderful kick. It's Heriot's Rugby 14, Stirling Wolves 0. Update on jersey numbers. It's in fact Ryan Southern playing it inside centre for Stirling Wolves in that 21 jersey. As they restart, plucked from the air by Jamie Campbell, and away goes Ewan McLaren. He has George Barber with him. That ball intercepted as Heriot's look to gallop the length, taken by Ross McKnight. So Stirling Wolves trailing by 14 points, only 15 minutes on the clock. Looking to clear from their 22. It's Eric Davey with the left foot. And he finds a good touch, just down towards halfway.
Yeah, on the break there by Heriot, and it was as you mentioned, Jamie Campbell plucked out the air there, which just gave Heriot's front foot, but it was intelligent defence by Ross McKnight, just getting into that passing channel that saved Stirling on that occasion, and they managed to clear their lines through Eric Davey.
Again, bit of movement in the line out, but taken by Ronan Sadak. And Heriot's quickly get that ball out into the midfield. Tackle made by Connor Gordon, Stirling Wolves vice captain, New Zealander. Grant Hughes a little slow to get back up. Heriot's inside centre after that contact. Still Heriot's in possession, and St John Broad, the referee, awards the penalty the way of Stirling Wolves for holding on in the deck.
Yeah, Stirling will be pleased, a bit of momentum going their way. It's a well earned turnover from their line out defence. They hit Grant Hughes pretty hard first up on that first phase. It's a good turnover. It's sharp over ball just as the man falls to his feet there, and Stirling will try and gain a bit of territory, a bit of possession, as they've not had a lot of it so far. So as we go towards the first quarter mark, we've got a bit of possession.
Gregor Hiddleston with a throw to the line out, looking for James Pout. It's been tapped back on the Heriot side. And the captain Ian Wilson accelerates into contact. St John Broad fires the ball back to Bruce Houston. He sends that one as long, as far as he can, down the Heriot's right flank. So wasted opportunity. Stirling Wolves unable to find their man in the line out. They will throw again into the line out. They're now some 42, 43 metres away from that Heriot's try line.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating start so far, and more so than that line out there. They get another opportunity to go here. From a Stirling point of view, it's about just trying to get through some phases, get guys' hands on ball and get some direction.
Hiddleston finds his man on this occasion. Ball's gone to deck. Played away by Eric Davey. Big contact again in the midfield. Davey again out to Jackson. He looks to put the Heriots back three under pressure, but dealt with well. Once again, it's a little too far. Chaser's not able to get there. It's the mark called. And once again, a good clearing kick takes play back up to the Stirling Wolves 10-metre line.
A bit of a let off there for Heriots. Ross Jones does well to call the mark. Ideally that kick, if it goes along the floor and maybe forces Heriots to play it, gives the Stirling players a chance to get it. We went high but then not contestable, so it just gave Ross Jones the time, and good player that he is, takes the mark and manages to clear his lines as well.
Tom Smith, the target this time for Hiddleston in the line out. Eric Davey again. Forward comes that Heriot's defensive line. Hasdell involved in the tackle. Marcus Holden looking behind, but just drops the ball off to his centre partner Ryan Southern. Glenn Bryce taking that ball into contact. Play up now on the Heriot's 10-metre line. This tip on pass again. The referee playing an advantage here. A high tackle. The referee awards the penalty the way of Stirling Wolves. Craig Jackson just looks to punch that one into the corner. Stirling Wolves not had too many attacking opportunities. Wasted one a moment or two ago on the other side of the pitch, with Gregor Hiddleston unable to find his man at the line out. I'll look to do better on this occasion. And goes to the back. And Stirling Wolves now with the opportunity from the line out maul. They're working their way towards the Heriot's try line. And it's desperately trying to keep them out, and they play away out to Marcus Holden. Ball back inside to Ross McKnight. Fights his way forward. And again through the forwards. Number 8, Ed Hasdell, steps back inside. Right in front of the posts. Eric Davey out to Jackson. Nice to wriggle his way out through a couple of tackles. Stirling getting very close to that try line. Pick and go once more as Hamish Ferguson goes close for Stirling Wolves. Back to the left they go again. James Pow. Both second rows involved in the action. Apologies, we seem to have lost audio on site. We still have pictures on your screen. And the referee awarding the penalty. Apologies to Stirling Wolves. And it's defending desperately on their try line there, preserving that 14 points to 0 advantage. Stirling Wolves with a chance once more to go from the line out. In the first part of the equation done, win the ball in the middle, and Gregor Hiddleston scurries round to get ball in hand. And Heriot's Rugby will find this one very hard to stop. Referee says that has stopped, and the ball has to be played away by Eric Davey. The scrum half dragged to deck by the Heriot's defence. Marcus Holden has to go in and act as scrum half. Ed Hasdell Gets his hands on the ball once more, and the big number 8 crashes over for Stirling Wolves, and they do get themselves right back into this game. Hasdell to the fore in the last minute or two, and the big number 8 goes over. It's Heriot's Rugby 14, Stirling Wolves 5.
Yeah, that's much better from Stirling. The lead-up play, you could see they had more pace in their game. They were clearing the ball quicker, which just allowed them to get on the front foot. Heriot's infringed with their offside penalty, and then that allowed Stirling to go to their line out. Their maul was much better on that occasion. I thought Charlie Jupp of Heriot's had managed to thwart it with Eric Davey at the back there, but then ball on to Ed Hasdell, and real power just to get over and get 5 points on the board for his team.
So both sides scoring a try from the line-out maul, and up go the flags. You can see just in the background there as Marcus Holden adds the extras for his side, and Stirling Wolves not had an awful lot of ball to play with. Heriot's very much had the upper hand, and I think Stirling Wolves will be reasonably happy to have got themselves back to 14 points to 7.
Definitely, I think that's good reward for having not had a lot of possession, not had a lot of territory. They'll be pretty pleased that on that occasion when they did, pick up the pace and manage to clear ball a bit better, that they've managed to get points on the board.
Again, apologies at home. We have lost audio from Goldenacre. But it is Stirling Wolves then got themselves right back into this game as we're just past the midway point in the first half, looking now to clear from their own 22. Ed Davey works that one back through the legs, takes on kicking duties himself once more with that left boot and sends it down the Stirling Wolves left flank, but that one doesn't find touch, and it's Heriot's through St John Broad using his hooker Cammy Fenton. Broad out to Houston, and just drops the ball off to captain Ian Wilson. Slow ball here as Heriot's take play back towards the right. Good quick hands though, and they find space out there for George Barber, who skips through a couple of tackles, looks for support on the inside now, finds it from his scrum half St John Broad. Tackled again inside that Stirling Wolves 22. One of the forwards has to go in there and act as scrum half. Ball off to Jamie Campbell. The big second row has to fight his way to deck under the tensions of Ed Hasdell. Back inside they come through Charlie Jupp. The ball bounces out into the midfield and almost to the feet of Marcus Holden. He's looked to hack that upfield. The referee though was playing advantage. And back he comes. Got an injury here away to one of the... Now it seems to be okay. Manis Tamasetis back on his feet, but Heriot's looking to bounce back quickly from that Stirling Wolves try and go through the phases at the other end of the field.
Yeah, really strong work by George Barber there on the right wing. Heriot's opting to use that short side. They flooded a couple of backs down there and Matt Davidson. They played the ball out the back, which allowed a bit of space for George Barber. And St John Broad just running a good inside support line as any good scrum half. And Heriot's managing to gain a bit of momentum down that short side.
The referee awarding the penalty to Heriot's. Again, apologies for the loss of sound. And we just have this one camera angle. Some treatment here to Gregor Hiddleston. Bruce Houston going for posts here with the kick. So Heriot's with 2 tries so far. Ian Wilson, first of all, from the line-out maul. And then Lewis Wells, and he took a scoring pass from his fullback Ross Jones. And up go the flags as Bruce Houston just nudges the Heriot's lead back out to 10 points. His first penalty kick of the game, just add to his 2 conversions from out wide on the left. It really is a fantastic weapon to have, the boot of Bruce Houston.
Yeah, and he was instrumental in that first win against Boroughmuir in round 1 for Heriot, and he's a good guy to have their control in the game, and you know that if they're going to offer up penalties, he's going to more often than not get 3 points on the board for his team.
Charlie Jupp with the take from the restart, and it'll be St John Broad sends the ball back to Bruce Houston. Well, he's kicked well from the tee. doesn't quite find touch, kicking out of hand there. And the ball with Glenn Bryce, who again looks for space in behind. Bruce Houston waiting on that one. Again, we'll just return. Ball still in the field of play. And this time it's Craig Jackson who sends the ball back into the Heriot's 22. Both sides just looking to try and win this particular kicking battle. Glenn Bryce now for Stirling Wolves. And find some grass there. But there is Lewis Wells, but leaves that for Houston once more. And this does go into touch, but Craig Jackson looks to keep the ball alive. Throws back into himself. And again looking for space in behind, and once more finds grass. The ball bounces up for Ross Jones. And again, thumps the ball right into touch this time. Doesn't give Craig Jackson the chance for the quick throw. So it will be a Stirling Wolves throw into the line out after several kicks from both sides.
Yeah, I think Ross Jones had come in, decided he'd had enough. Bruce Houston had pinged it back a few times to Glenn Bryce, and then, yeah, Craig Jackson with a quick line out. Ross Jones decides enough is enough and puts it out around the halfway line.
Stirling Wolves with the throw into the line out, but that comes back on the Heriot side. It's a mistake by Gregor Hiddleston. Tackle made by Craig Jackson. So it's Heriot's then in possession. It's on their own side of halfway, and quickly through the hands out to their left wing, but a loose final pass. Couldn't quite find its way into the hands of try scorer Lewis Wells. And again, it will be Stirling Wolves to throw into the line out.
Good hands by Heriot. It's just, you could see what Ross Jones was trying to do, just trying to pin his man down for an extra half second to try and put his winger away, but good passing in the lead up, and you can see Heriot's again trying to use that width.
Ball off the top of the Wolves line out down to Eric Davey, then out into the midfield, crashed up by Marcus Holden. And pleased to report we do have all our camera angles back. We have audio back from Goldenacre. Not such a good kick though from Stirling Wolves.
And we can see the wind picking up there now as well. You know, these sort of things just frustrate a team that's, as we've seen so far in the first half hour, struggling to really get a foothold in the game, but you know, kicking out on the full there, it just doesn't help a team's momentum and a team's confidence as they try and get themselves into that game.
Change it. Hooker there, you can see Cammy Fenton on, Michael Linus on in the 16 jersey. As Ronan Sadak crashes the ball into contact for Heriot's Rugby. St John Broad out to the forwards. Play just on the Stirling Wolves side of halfway, and again switches direction back to Michael Linus. On for Fenton. Broad then feeds it back through the legs. Looks to send the ball down deep into Stirling Wolves territory. Doesn't get as much distance on that as he might have hoped. The ball tapped back by Stirling Wolves, almost into the hands of George Barber. I think, yeah, the referee saying that Heriot's, and I think probably Barber, was the man that was offside, resulting really from the kick not going as far as was intended by St John Broad.
Yeah, it's a difficult one when you get a short kick like that. That's you know, not so far in advance of where the ruck is and where the majority of those forwards are. It's easy to get yourself into an offside position. But I've been impressed by St John Broad so far. I think he's brought real pace to Heriot's game.
He's been very good. That kick almost very good. Craig Jackson not finding a touch from the penalty, so a mistake by the Stirling Wolves fly half. That ball, the return kick by Heriot's Rugby, could have worked out very well for them. Instead they will find themselves all the way back towards their own try line. Craig Jackson then shot there. The last 8 minutes of the first half here at Goldenacre. Heriot Rugby 17. 2 tries through Ian Wilson and Lewis Wells, both converted by Houston, who added another penalty. A reply by Ed Hasdell for Stirling Wolves, conversion by Marcus Holden. So Scrum then in a good attacking position for Stirling Wolves. And the ball comes from Eric Davey. Try scorer Ed Hasdell at the base. It's the tap, feeds the ball off to his scrum half, and again quickly out into the midfield. Bruce Houston in there on the tackle, trying to get himself out of the way. And referee happy with that. Play just outside the Heriot's 22. Gregor Hiddleston with the footwork. Has to go on the outside there. Marcus Holden. Ball in behind to Ross McKnight, popping up off his wing. He's dealt with well. And the ball knocked on. Heriot Rugby will look to play with the advantage through George Barber out of their 22. St John Broad scurries into the base of the breakdown there. Heriot Rugby again through a couple of sets of hands. Switch the kick down the other side of the field. And it's a good clearing kick, takes play up towards halfway.
Yeah, I've been impressed so far by the way, I've mentioned it earlier, but the way Heriots are exiting. Real patience. They've earned the turnover there. George Barber's had a dabble on the far side there, and then Heriots have been smart enough to realise that the best option is probably going to relieve a bit of pressure, kick long, and they've got their other centre there and Matt Davidson that's able to do that. An unfortunate turnover on the far side there by Stirling.
Gregor Hiddleston with the throw, and then played away through Connor Gordon. One of the Heriots players down, so they defending with 14 men here. Stirling Wolves shift play across to the stand side of the pitch. Eric Davey waiting on that ball. Out it comes. A panicky pass by Stirling Wolves. It works out for them. Hasdell almost getting the hands free there for the offload, but Craig Jackson thought about the pass, then saw space in behind, just stabs that kick through. Back goes George Barber again. Can't pick that up, knocks the ball on. So a mistake by Heriot's right wing from the kick through by Craig Jackson. And again, the opportunity for Stirling Wolves in for the scrum as we're into the last 5 minutes of the first half.
It's a really smart kick by Craig Jackson, just shaping to pass first, brings the right winger up. He probably thinks he has to be on the end of that defensive line, and then Craig Jackson skillful enough to just thread that ball through. Forces George Barber to go back, who's under a wee bit more pressure, and it forces a knock on. So yeah, a good bit of field position for Stirling now.
Rory Leishman, Heriot's number 8, you can see leaving the field of play there with an injury. He came in this afternoon replacing Callum Anderson, played in that win over Boroughmuir Rugby. A good opening 35 minutes. Well, it looks like his game is done. And on comes Callum Anderson. We'll have some defending to do from the scrum here. Scrum Stirling look to try and get the nudge on against Heriot's, didn't get any joy from that. Solid front row there for the visitors. Liam Quorn, Gregor Hiddleston and Marius Tamasetis. Against Chris Keane and Ewan McLaren. And the new hooker Michael Linus on for Cammy Fenton. Callum Anderson on now in the back row for Heriot. So 2 enforced changes in the pack for Heriot. Seem to have lost our ref mic, so we're not able to hear the explanation there to the front row, but either way, the 2 front rows, either way, we'll have a reset scrum here. A real opportunity for the Wolves again to get themselves within touching distance of Heriot's as we approach half time. Eric Davey, again the dangerous Ed Hasdell, number 8 for Stirling Wolves. Let's see Ross McKnight just lurking behind the scrum there. Big left wing. Davey will have to play this away. You can hear perhaps the referee there calling an advantage. The ball out the back to Jackson again, puts boot the ball across field, and Jones scurrying across. This will just be the bounce of the ball. The referee says no try, as Mikey Heron won the race. Ross Jones perhaps a little out of position, but the referee says no try. Ball into touch before Heron could pluck it from the air. It was playing an advantage, come all the way back. Penalty once more to Stirling Wolves.
It's a good solid platform by the Stirling pack there, and as a backline left hand side scrum in the 22, it's a great opportunity to attack. You see Stirling carried Ross McKnight just on the inside there, potentially to hold a few more defenders, which just maybe gave an extra yard on the outside, and Craig Jackson trying to find that space with the kick pass, and it was marginal in the end, close to a score, but you could see what Stirling were trying to do there.
Yeah, Ross McKnight, his big physical presence will do that exact job, hold defenders. So Hiddleston then runs in, gets hands on the ball. So Stirling Wolves only 5 metres away, now crabbing towards that Heriot's try line. They've already scored one through Hasdell. The ball still with Hiddleston. It must be over the try line now. Referee runs round and up goes the arm. Let's see who comes up last here. You would think it will be Gregor Hiddleston. It is in fact Gregor Hiddleston, the hooker. A good throw to the line out, and then the ball of course fed back to Hiddleston, and a good drive. Heriot's back the 5 metres or so and over the try line, and Heriot's having led by 14 points to 0. They find themselves leading by 17 points to 12, with the conversion still to come.
Both Stirling scores built off the strength of the driving maul there, just as it shears off to the left. Heriot's players have to commit, and Gregor Hiddleston, as any good hooker, good body position, and gets himself on the scoreboard.
So Captain Marcus Holden, Cypriot international, looks to add the extras here. And he's brought that one round. The assistant referees had a think about that, but the second successful conversion attempt whittles that Heriot's lead down to just the 3 points now. Heriot's Rugby 17, Stirling Wolves 14. I think the last action of the first half, Bruce Houston under pressure. James Pow is very well there, blasting the whistle though. Penalty in at the side, I think, there by Heriot's Rugby. Penalty to Stirling Wolves. Craig Jackson, I think, just having a word with the referee to see if time is up.
Let's go, out your front.
There's still time to play. Sends that ball down the Stirling Wolves left flank, takes play up to halfway.
Yeah, I think as we approach half time, the two sides here, I think Stirling definitely will be the happier with this scoreline. Just given the way the first half's went in terms of possession, the territory, they'll definitely have to at half time should the score remain the same.
Line out stolen by Ronan Sadak at the front for Heriot's Rugby, so perhaps last chance for Heriot's before half time. Out to Houston. Good work down that left flank by Grant Hughes. Threads the ball through, chased by Barber. Lewis Wells on hand too. The ball beats everybody into touch. And with that, the referee blows for half time. Half time score: Heriot's Rugby 17, Stirling Wolves 14. 2 tries apiece for Heriot's through Ian Wilson and Lewis Wells, both converted by Houston. For Stirling Wolves, Ed Hasdell and Gregor Hiddleston, likewise both converted by Marcus Holden. And the difference between the two sides at half time, just that Bruce Houston penalty goal on the 26-minute mark. So let's have a look then at the highlights from that first half. Early in the game, so the two centres combined. This ultimately didn't result in a score, but Heriot showing their intent in the early stages of the game.
Yeah, they started the game really well, and the two centres combined in there. They then kicked to the corner from the resultant penalty, and they managed to get themselves over.
Yeah, Ian Wilson, the captain, the try scorer, really experienced in this situation, rather than the use of the hooker, as most teams do there. Ian Wilson, really secure. The captain plunges over. Bruce Houston successful with the first of his conversions from out wide on the left. And then the 14-minute mark, see Ross McKnight for Stirling Wolves taking the ball into contact, but Ronan Seda coming in with a great jackal for Heriots. And then Ross Jones combining with Lewis Wells down Heriots' left flank to go over for their second score.
Yeah, it was a really strong finish. He had a fair bit of work to do. He comes back inside, he gets back out, and there's a couple of players hanging off him there. But both scores all stemmed from Heriots, playing smart rugby, playing patient rugby, learning the territory through the kicking game. But that's a terrific finish.
We were hesitant in commentary at the time because I thought the ball had been bobbled, but the referee and his assistant on the spot, and a good finish by Lewis Wells. Equally good conversion by Bruce Houston from out wide, and Heriots led by 14 points to 0 at that stage. But Stirling Wolves, having had very little possession in the early stages of this match, worked their way back down the other end. A quick look here though as Ewan McLaren raced upfield, looked to combine with George Barber. Pass intercepted by Ross McKnight for Stirling Wolves.
I can't hear it.
You can see the penalty awarded the way of Stirling, and then they worked their way down into the 22. It took them a couple of attempts, but it was the big number 8 Ed Hasdell who went over for their try. And then from the line out, just a minute or so before half time, it was Gregor Hiddleston, the hooker, who went over for their second try. Both converted by Marcus Holden. See Hiddleston, the last man up there. And conversion by Marcus Holden, just inside that right upright. Before that Hiddleston try, Bruce Houston penalty. The difference between the two sides at half time.
Yeah, as I mentioned just before the half there, I think Stirling will definitely be the happier team. They've not managed to hold on to possession a huge amount, but when they have, and they've gained penalties, they've kicked to touch, the driving maul's been strong, and they've earned 2 tries off the back of it. I think Heriots have probably done everything right. They've looked really assured and patient on the ball. They've gained territory, and they had a real purple patch in that first 20 minutes, but they'll be disappointed defensively, probably more so in their defensive maul. And as they go into the second half, they'll look to shore up their discipline a bit, because they've really given Stirling those opportunities through their discipline and allowed them to get their driving maul going.
Half time then at Goldenacre in the FOSROC Super Series Championship, and it's the hosts who lead by 3 points. It's Heriot's Rugby 17, Stirling Wolves 14. Join us again in around 5 minutes.
I can't talk back to the way. For some reason. I turn my phone on and off about 7 times. Even when I turn my phone on to phone and do that, I can't talk to anyone. I just talk. just think it's staff. I have no idea.
Welcome back to Goldenacre for second half action. It's final game of the weekend in round 3 of the FOSROC Super Series Championship. Heriot 17, Stirling Wolves 14, the half-time score. Bruce Houston getting second half action underway, and Stirling Wolves with a clearing kick takes play back up to halfway.
Be interesting to see how those two teams come out the sheds at half time and how they approach the start of the second half. Heriot's with a long kick off there, and Craig Jackson relieves the pressure. First possession of the half.
Michael Linus on in the first half for Cammy Fenton to enforce changes in the Heriot's pack. Rory Leishman, the other casualty. Linus comes round, hits that hard, hits it moving forward. He just goes past Ian Wilson. He gains the man that's trusted in possession at the back of that Heriot's line out drive and making good ground. Up now to the Stirling Wolves 10-metre line. Gathering a bit of momentum as St John Broad plays that away out into the midfield. Hughes has to fight his way through the contact. Broad goes, the referee playing an advantage here, and ball inside to Ronan Sadak from Ewan McLaren. Good interplay between the two Heriot's forwards. The referee, I think, is saying that one was forward Rory Campbell. Comes back, no advantage accruing. The high tackle by Stirling Wolves. Heriot's Rugby, who started the first half so strongly, getting off to a positive start in the second.
Yeah, strong rolling maul there. They gained a bit of momentum, and Connor Gordon of Stirling did well. Actually had a lot of space to cover with the ball coming from the back of that maul, and he made a good tackle just to stem the tide a wee bit. And a great show and go by Ewan McLaren, almost to put his second row away. And Ronan Sadak, but then Heriot's earn the penalty and they go to touch.
It's Bruce Houston with the touch finder from the penalty. Linus, a quick word with St John Broad. Some pretty tall timber there in that Heriot's line out. Plenty of options. His best throw, but taken by Sadak at the front. Against Wilson in control at the back. Having a cross-field, St John Broad reaching in for that, but Wilson breaks away, looks to get the hands free. The offload there to Campbell, in the end just goes himself, and he could well be a metre or so away from that try line. Pick and go by St John Broad, and Broad dives over. Initially good work by the forwards in the line out maul. Ian Wilson, the captain, going very close, almost getting the hands free for the offload from the breakdown. St John Broad alert to the space on the left hand side of the breakdown, dives over for the first try of the second half and Heriot's third try of the match.
Yeah, more great work from the driving maul, and Ian Wilson in particular picked a real good moment just to come off the back to shear off, and he looked like he might go over himself, but that just drew in Mikey Heron, the right winger for Stirling, which then gave St John Broad the opportunity to, it was an easy pick and snipe for him down that left hand side, and it gets on Heriot's on the board early on.
Bruce Houston, who has been immaculate with the boot so far, 2 conversions and a penalty, which was the difference between the sides at halfway. Strikes that one nicely, curls it round right between the uprights. And establishes a healthy looking 10 points advantage for his side.
Cairns will be happy with the first 4 minutes of this first half. It really couldn't have gone any better for the Heriot's lads.
Stirling Wolves will be frustrated by that because they trailed by 14 points. They worked their way back into the game with 2 tries of their own, trailing by just the 3 points at half time. Probably the better of the closing stages of that first half, and just to concede 3 minutes into the second half will frustrate them. However, they've won themselves an opportunity here at the other end of the field. Gregor Hiddleston has already scored from a line-out drive for Stirling Wolves. The ball fed back to the hooker here. 15 metres or so to go to that try line. Not going anywhere at this stage, so Eric Davey comes in. Now they start to get some go forward. Hiddleston says you're not getting that yet, as his side work again towards the try line, going very, very close now as the Heriot's defence breaks up. Hiddleston has to break away, though spins round into contact. The hooker can't quite get over the try line. Out it goes to try scorer Ed Hasdell, the big number 8, who goes close. Eric Davey again using the forwards. Come round the corner, and Marius Tamasetis, the man who now fights his way towards the try line, stopped again in his tracks by Heriot's defence, and Eric Davey has a go, has lost that ball, snapped up by Michael Linus. The referee is playing an advantage and has awarded a penalty the way of Stirling. Gregor Hiddleston going very close initially from the line out drive, and then as he broke away, Stirling Wolves having a go through the forwards. Marius Tamasetis again going close. Penalty given away by Heriot's, and their captain Marcus Holden indicates that he will go for the post and look to get this side back within 7 points.
Yeah, Ian Wilson going pretty close to the edge there on coming through on St John Broad, and he probably, I'd imagine he'd have known that was, you know, a potential penalty, but in his mind he'd rather give up the 3 points than potentially, you know, if Stirling had managed to gain quick ball there. So the captain taken into his own hands there, and he concedes a penalty which Marcus Holden manages to put over for 3 points.
Yeah, so we're singing the praises of Bruce Houston. 3 conversions and penalty, but Marcus Holden yet to miss 2 conversions and then a penalty. So he brings his side back within 7 points. 6 minutes played in the second half. And it's Houston with the restart. Wolves in the ball outside of their 22. Carried into contact there by Hamish Ferguson. And Davey, a huge amount of pressure there on Craig Jackson. Somehow Marcus Holden comes away with it. And Stirling Wolves survive. It could have gone horribly wrong for them. It's taken at the back by Ross Jones. Thought about playing away to the left, instead kicks down the right and manages to bounce that very close to touchline and rolls into touch. What I think will be a throw into Stirling Wolves. I think the officials having a quick chat to see if that was a 50-22. In fact, it was a 50-22. As you can see the assistant referee's arm out towards Heriot. So a wonderful kick then by Ross Jones, the Heriot's rugby fullback.
Yeah, well earned. Stirling were under real pressure there, and it's a position you don't want to find yourself in your own 22. You know, we saw how easily Heriot's exited in that first half, but Stirling under real pressure, and Ross Jones pings him back to earn a 50-22 for his team.
Linus finds Jamie Campbell in the line out, and once again it's the captain Ian Wilson who works his way to the back of the line out maul, which again is to fight his way away from as James Pow comes through the middle, well, illegally so, because the referee awards the penalty to Heriot's. You and I commentated in a game a couple of weeks ago. Well, that was would have resulted in a yellow card, but the referee showing patience there, and Heriot's Rugby will have another crack at it.
Yeah, these sides, they're aware that if you let that driving maul go early, then you're chasing your tail in terms of defending it. So what you'll see is teams just trying to get in as early as possible to halt it, which sometimes they fall on the side of you know, giving away those penalties as Stirling did there.
So Linus again combines with Campbell. Wilson once again gets hands on the ball as bodies pile in for Heriot's Rugby, trundling towards the Stirling Wolves try line. And the referee on the spot and awards the try to Heriot's Rugby. And it will be Ian Wilson, I think, the last man up. The Heriot's Rugby captain is in control of the ball there as they drove towards the try line. Quick fire 4th try for Heriot's Rugby. That's the bonus point try. Scored through St John Broad in the early stages of this half. Marcus Holden with the penalty, but Heriot's Rugby back down the other end and very clinical. Took 2 opportunities with the penalty given away by Stirling as James Pow came through the middle. No mistake on the second time of asking. Captain Ian Wilson goes over for his 2nd try of the match.
Yeah, it shows you how important the 50-22 was in the lead up there, just to get some set piece in the Stirling half, and Ian Wilson really doing his position at the back of that maul going forward. No harm as he gets himself over. He's been instrumental there. And as we look at 10 minutes into the second half, Heriots have made a very strong start.
Well, first miss from the boot of Bruce Houston. It was his hardest kick on the wrong side for the right-footed kicker. So unable to add the extras. So 2 tries in the early stages of the second half by the home side sees them on a very healthy 29 points to 17 advantage. And Wycombe Heriots again from the restart, and it's the try scorer and the captain Ian Wilson, man who takes the ball into contact. Out to Linus, the replacement hooker. St John Broad is looking for forwards to shield him there as he fed the ball back to Bruce Houston. Keeps that in the field of play. And finds Glenn Bryce, who's been very quiet at the back today for Stirling Wolves. Not had a lot of opportunity. We know how dangerous he can be. Stirling Wolves then in possession. As Eric Davey for support through the forwards. Davey again out to Jackson. Throws the long pass out there, but it can't be taken. Threw it too far in front of Mikey Heron. The right wing just did too much to do to take that one. Like it will be a Heriots throw in then to the line out. Linus gets his instructions from St John Broad. Let's forward to a quick discussion. It's new instructions from Chris Keane. Kelsoman in front of the Heriots line out. Good throw towards the back of the Heriots line out by Michael Linus. Ian Wilson again in control. Just put that Stirling Wolves defence on the back foot. Wilson gets the hands free, feeds inside to St John Broad, who was away. That forward pass as the captain looked to combine with his scrum half. Wilson and Broad very much been to the fore in the opening 12 minutes or so of the second half.
Yeah, St John Broad, both players just have been instrumental probably during that first half, and also coming into the second half really strong as well, and that must have been marginal, but I think Rory Campbell was in a good position to call it there. There's been a couple of occasions where just for the forward pass, Heriots could have been made a couple of line breaks.
They can play for some treatment there, so you can see Chris Keane, the 1 jersey, Kelsoman, former Gala player as well, as was Marius Tamasitis, his opposite number in the scrum for Stirling County. Well, it looks like he has a new opponent there in the shape of Lewis Skinner with the 25 jersey on now for Stirling County, just on this side of the, apologies, Stirling Wolves, on this side of the Stirling scrum. Davey showing his basketball skills. He spins that ball in his fingertip. He waits on the referee, Rory Campbell, setting the scrum. And it comes both front rows again going down. The referee just indicates that will be a reset scrum. Stirling Wolves again with the put in. Goes across, just a quick word with the new man Skinner and Chris Keane.
I think one positive Stirling can take from the match so far is their set piece has been really strong, and probably a lot to do with Eddie Pollock as head coach there. Be taking a real drive and coaching with the scrum and the line out, and we could see that they've got a really good platform and they can get the territory, can get themselves into those positions, and they can give their back line quality ball.
Stirling Wolves with a scrum. And it comes from Eric Davey. And sweeps the ball away out to Marcus Holden, his captain. Ball out the back door to Craig Jackson. Ball knocked on though by Stirling Wolves. Heriots might opt to play there. They've shown a bit of ambition with turnover ball, and when they have advantage, the referee blowed Heriots rugby.
It's like interval training for these front rows. Scrum, walk 40 yards, another scrum there.
Glad to report we have sound once more from Goldenacre. St John Broad to feed the Heriot scrum. He's been excellent this afternoon, St John Broad. From Campbell waiting in the wings, perhaps replace him at some point. For now, Broad steering the ship along with Bruce Houston. Heriots shift that wide very quickly to Lewis Wells, second try scorer for Heriots. He fights his way up to the Stirling Wolves 10-metre line. Bruce Houston drops the ball off to Campbell. Again Broad to Houston. Inside ball there. A hint of a gap in the Stirling Wolves defence. Managed to close the door. Broad again back to Houston, who decides his side not making enough ground and puts boot to ball, taken at the back by Heriots, by Stirling Wolves, apologies, as Heriots looked to bundle the visitors into touch. Here comes James Pout. Loose pass, bounces up very kindly for Glenn Bryce. Again, could have gone wrong for Stirling Wolves, but away comes Marcus Holden, the captain, looking for support now as he goes up towards halfway. Couldn't quite get the hands free under the attentions of Lewis Wells. Good work by the Heriots left wing. And away now, Kyle McGee. Eric Davey, and a look to the left, goes to the right, and there's half a gap there. Dragged down under an important tackle by Jamie Campbell. Heriots have managed to turn that one over. St John Broad again back to Houston. Heriots again showing some ambition and invention in their own 22. Shift the ball all the way across to the right flank before kicking down over halfway, and a good chase by Heriots as they make the tackle on the Stirling Wolves side of halfway. That would have been their aim there. Away comes Kyle McGee on now. Stirling Wolves up towards the Heriots 22, looking to get the hands free. Good offload, and away they go. And it will be Eric Davey who goes over the try line for Stirling Wolves, almost out of nothing as they attacked down the left flank. And it's Eric Davey, the scrum half, who's on hand to take the scoring pass. And Stirling Wolves get themselves right back into this game once more.
Well, it was a long phase of play in the lead up there, and I think Stirling by a whisker managed to get themselves out of their own half. They made a break. Eric Davey, instrumental across the phases. He could see him sniping. He was trying to bring guys into the game, so deservedly gets the score in the end. But down that touchline there, we got the ball to Ross McKnight. He manages to get his hands free, and then Eric Davey, as any good nine is, in and around the ball, and he manages to pick up the offload.
Successful conversion by Marcus Holden, yet to miss 3 conversions and a penalty. Game in our hands again, 29 points to 24. It's that 5 points advantage for Heriot. You see Marcus Holden in shot there.
Apologies, minutes, leave referee number 15, Ross Fields.
Apologies for the loss of sound from Goldenacre. Bruce Houston sends the restart down into Stirling Wolves 22. Linus in there fighting for the ball, but good work by Stirling Park. Fight their way forward 10 metres or so. However, that may well be turned over by Heriot. It has indeed. It's Heriot then in possession. Houston with the pass, and then Jamie Campbell pulls the ball back, and there could be space down this left touchline. Ian Wilson, the captain, thought about the kick and then tries to combine with Lewis Wells, his winger. Loose pass, but it's been picked up by Wells. It's the ball offloaded to Ben Smith on now for Heriot. Against St John Broad. In quickly, lovely tip-on pass in the midfield. This time by Chris Keane, the loose head prop. And the pass out there by Grant Hughes. And Heriot's Rugby playing very, very quickly here, dragging the Stirling Wolves defence around. And through the forwards again. St John Broad just scurries in, trying to get the ball back quickly to Bruce Houston. Reaches for that, he's got 3 forwards with him and picks out Ben Smith. They're clean through. Michael Linus now fighting his way up towards the try line, 10 metres or so away. Quick ball once more, Houston, quick hands, and out it goes into the outside centre channel. Matt Davidson dragged down a metre or so short of the Stirling Wolves try line. Ball back inside again, and reaching for it there was Ben Smith. Just on in the 19 jersey for Heriot's Rugby. Heriot's playing at a frantic pace there. Stirling Wolves defence unable to cope with it. And again, the quick reply with the try, the 5th of the day for Heriot's Rugby.
Yeah, I think it was hard for us to keep up, Bruce, there. Heriot's playing at such a pace, and the Stirling defence, it's a tough ask. They were hanging on. It was getting people around the corner. St John Broad just keeping his backline moving. Bruce Houston moving the point of contact, and Ben Smith was involved in a couple of occasions in the lead-up play, and so deservedly gets over the line at the end there. He's made a good impact since he came off the bench.
If you look to the right, you'll see the red arrows.
Again, apologies for the technical difficulties that we are having at Goldenacre, but once more we have sound back. It's time for the conversion attempt by Bruce Houston. It's the one miss today. His last conversion attempt, this should be a little easier for the right footer. It's to the left of the posts. Last glance up, and then sclaps it. This is not his best kick of the day, so a couple of misses in a row for Houston. But his side, once again, lead by 10 points.
Right, so which maybe just got into Bruce Houston's eye line. And yeah, you never know, those 2 points might count come the end of the match.
So still 17 or so minutes left to play here at Goldenacre. And a high scoring encounter, 5 tries for Heriot, 3 for Stirling Wolves. As Heriot's in possession from the restart. And it looks like Finn Campbell is on now at half back for St John Broad, who has had an excellent hour or so in this game. Again goes Lewis Wells. He's looked dangerous down that left touchline, scored his side's 2nd try of the afternoon. As Heriot's in possession then, Bruce Houston with a new half-back partner, Ronan. It was Jamie Campbell, in fact, big number 5, thought about the pass and galloped up towards halfway. Houston distributing the ball nicely. In come the hands from Hiddleston there, almost winning the turnover for his side, but it's still Heriot's in possession. And again, it's Campbell looking to get hands on the ball. Bruce Houston with 3 options out in the midfield, the spin and the pass, and away go Heriot through Liam Richmond, working their way up towards the 22 now. It's a try scorer, Ben Smith. Play centre field, new man at half-back, Finn Campbell. Ball's been knocked on though. One on the ground as it went loose by Ross Jones, but again Heriot's Rugby looking very dangerous with ball in hand.
Yeah, they're playing just with such pace. Finn Campbell now on at scrum half, I believe, in place of St John Broad, who, as we've mentioned on a few occasions, has really kept the pace of this backline going. But credit to the Stirling defence, they've managed to, on that occasion, stem the tide and force a knock-on. So, you know, they're hanging into this game, Stirling, and on occasion have just turned it in their favour. They pulled the score back more towards themselves, and Heriot's now just pulled away with that try. But Heriot's, as we mentioned there, Bruce, starting to play with real pace. If they continue to do so, if they can really hang on to that ball, it's going to put the Stirling defence under real pressure.
Just a reminder that just because we have 7 teams in the competition this year, somebody sits out in each of the rounds, and both of these sides have only played one game. Heriot's featuring in round 1 with that thumping 51 points to 14 win against Boroughmuir. So we certainly know where the try line is, it would appear. Stirling defeated at home 28 points to 26 by Ayrshire Bulls last weekend. Stirling Wolves have never led in this game, but they've shown an ability to come back. They trailed by 14 points to 0 after only 14 minutes in this one. It narrowed the gap to 17-14 by half time. And once again got within 5 points 9 minutes into the second half, but that Ben Smith try, the 5th of the day for Heriot's, sees his side lead by 10 with 14 minutes left to play here. Comes from Kyle McGee. You on at scrum half for Stirling. Through the hands and down the right touchline goes Sam Rockley. There's more changes for Stirling Wolves. The ball goes loose, hacked downfield by Heriot. Ball lost in the tackle as Sam Rockley carried into contact, but the referee indicating that it was in fact Heriot's, the tackler, who knocked the ball on. So it'll be a scrum feed to Stirling Wolves. And again, a try for the visitors here could keep things very interesting. You see at the top left of your screen, try bonus point already in the bag for Heriot. So they're 5 tries, 3 tries for Stirling Wolves.
I think we've now got Kyle McGee on wearing the 11 jersey, but playing scrum half, replacement scrum half. He had a great game last week at Ayrshire Bulls, so he'll be looking to carry on his form.
Stirling Wolves, we need to look at the sizing on their jerseys. And maybe just done it to confuse the two of us today, Lee, and kept on our toes. Lewis Skinner, you see in the 25 jersey. Tight head side of the scrum for Stirling Wolves. He's up against Kieran Ramsey now on for Chris Keane. Ramsey replacing Struan Sesford just in the rotation policy for this week. And McGee sweeps that ball away to his captain Marcus Holden, crashes into contact. The referee playing an advantage here, so free ball. McGee looked to the left, instead goes to the right. A very dangerous runner, gets the hands free, finds Sam Rockley, and then out to Craig Jackson. Ball thrown back inside. This could still work for Stirling. Snapped up by Heriot's Rugby, so no advantage to the visitors. The referee comes back for the penalty. We know how dangerous Kyle McGee can be. I commentated in a game up at Bridge Hawk last season. I forget who they were playing, and Kyle McGee came on, and within about 5 minutes he scored 2 tries. So the Heriot's defence will do well to keep an eye on the new man at scrum half.
Yeah, he's very sharp, and just we see a glimpse there of how dangerous Stirling can be. You know, when they get into those areas and they've managed to get down a short side and, you know, effective link play, that's how they've managed to score. They're trying this second half here, and you know, glimpses like that can potentially pull them back into this game.
Gregor Hiddleston still on at hooker for the visitors. Finds his man in the middle of the line out, but loose play by Stirling Wolves. And they're fortunate there because the ball's been knocked on by Heriot, and they'll get another crack at it this time from the scrum.
Managing to keep themselves down this half of the field, and with 10 minutes left on the clock. You know, they're sitting on 3 tries. They'll obviously be thinking about trying to win this match, but again, a try bonus would be something that they could look at in terms of taking another point from the match. They managed to get 2 points from the game last week against the Bulls, and although that was very tight and they could have won, it was Eddie Pollock mentioned he was pleased to get 2 points from it.
Ed Timpson, you can see on in the 16 jersey. The blindside flank there for Stirling Wolves. So options to the right, lurking there Sam Rockley along with Craig Jackson. Big blindside to attack. The referee awards the penalty to Stirling Wolves from the scrum, and they have no hesitation in opting for another scrum. So feels that's an area that they can attack from here. Of course, they had the option to kick to the corner, attack from the line out, where they've had some success. Hiddleston scoring just a minute before half time from a line out maul. Another of their try scorers, Ed Hasdell, at number 8. Again, we've got men who pose the danger of Kyle McGee. We've spoken about Sam Rockley there on in the right wing, and Craig Jackson. We're lurking behind this scrum, 15 or 20 metres to play with to the right there. Again, Jackson just moving across there with Rockley. And McGee does pick up there, and goes to Jackson, who combines with Rockley, cuts back inside, but dealt with well by the Heriot's defence. Back it goes to the forwards, who go very close. And McGee's got Jackson to the right, off he goes to the left, and Hiddleston. Still with Stirling County, again driven sideways by Heriot. Will be desperately keen not to give away a try here, aware of the danger that Stirling Wolves possess. Gregor Hiddleston again, the hooker involved in the action. McGee out to Hasdell. On the spot there is Ed Timpson to help win that ball back. Hiddleston for the 3rd time in this phase of play. Stirling angle back in towards the breakdown. Very, very close to the try line. Heriot's defending for their lives here, looking to preserve that 10 points advantage. McGee off again, Bruce Houston in there with the big tackle, the fly half. And then try scorer Ben Smith with the tackle for Heriot. The Stirling Wolves go a little wider. And it's fullback Glenn Bryce now looking for spaces down that left touchline. But once more, Heriot's rugby defence up to the task. Liam Quorm with the carry, a loose head prop with some help from a couple of mates. Ed Timpson, blindside flanker. And Kyle McGee, a quick glance to the left. Out it comes to the captain, Marcus Holden. Big physical player, looks to go through contact, but dragged to deck again inside that Heriot's 22. Ball picked up off his bootlaces by Craig Jackson, then throws a loose pass in the direction of Sam Rockley. Can't find his winger. Again, the referee was playing that. It's more to something from this visit to the 22 if they want to give themselves any chance of winning this game. 34 points to 24, Heriot's lead. Penalty. In fact, it was a knock-on, the referee indicating it will be a scrum. Break and play here, perhaps give everybody a breather. As it's Kieran Ramsey tying his bootlaces. Again, apologies, we seem to have lost. Well, there we go, we've got the pictures and audio back from Goldenacre. That's an incredibly difficult scrum to defend. Kyle McGee with ball in hand. So options both ways for Stirling Wolves. And McGee indicates to Hasdell that he should pick up, and the big number 8 going very, very close. He goes over the try line, scores his 2nd try of the match. And once again, Wolves will not give up on this game. It's Heriot's Rugby 34, Stirling Wolves 29. Still 5 minutes left to play in this one, and still anybody's game.
Yeah, probably the largest period of sustained pressure that Stirling had on Heriot's there. And the Heriot's defence holding firm, but then they've earned a midfield scrum. And as you said, Bruce, it's such a hard place to defend. And when you've got a solid scrum like Stirling do, really pride themselves on the set piece, and it's been a real strength for them. You could see Kyle McGee, he taps, looking for the play to go open. Ed Hasdall, and for all money you think he's probably going to give that ball, but he steps in off his right, and very similar to his first try, manages to pull it over. He's been good throughout this game for Stirling, a real positive from their point of view.
So we're back to a 3-point game. Half-time, the hosts led by 17 points to 14. They now lead by 34 points to 31. And still 4+ minutes left to play in this one. 5 tries for Heriot's, 4 thus far for Stirling Wolves. More changes for the home side. Lewis Wells making way for Ben Evans. Just a quick look there at the conversion by Marcus Holden, adding extras to Ed Hasdall's second try. And the bonus point try for Stirling Wolves. Stirling Wolves from the restart, just on their side of halfway, ball pulled back by the vice-captain Connor Gordon. And then Glenn Bryce, someone I'm sure Stirling Wolves will be looking to get heavily involved in this game in the closing stages. Can they come from behind? Can Heriot's Rugby hold on? Connor Gordon, the great carry, the Wolves open side flanker. Back it comes to double try scorer Ed Hasdall. Is it a good game in the 8 jersey today for visitors? Ball comes out the back and the referee is playing an advantage. I think just the knock on. For a moment it was perhaps a penalty to Stirling Wolves. It's just from the knock on, as I think that was Michael Linus who came through, tried to win that, but either way, against Stirling Wolves with a scrum in a good attacking position.
Yeah, and something they'll be pleased about, given how their scrums went so far. I did wonder if Kyle McGee had consciously played for the penalty there. If he did, it was well done. He didn't get it in the end, bumping into Michael Linus there. But as you say, Bruce, I think Stirling will be happy with this scrum. It's a good platform for them to firstly keep ball and get themselves into some attacking shape going into the last few minutes of this game, with the game obviously tight in the balance. 3 points. Stirling have managed to get their way back into it and make it a real nail-biter to finish.
Heriots have never trailed in this game. 2 early tries in the first 15 minutes saw them race into a 14-0 lead. Now trying to cling on to a narrow 3 points advantage in the final 2 or so minutes of this game, our third and final game of the weekend in the FOSROC Super Series Championship. Good solid scrum by Stirling Wolves. Look initially to win a penalty, the referee telling Kyle McGee to play away, and off he goes to the left. Glenn Bryce again getting himself involved in the action. At a quiet opening 70 minutes or so, but we've seen much more of him in the last 8 minutes or so. And Connor Gordon, another man who's looked to get hands on ball in the last few moments. The vice-captain making hard yards, and Ian Wilson, the Heriot's captain, coming forward making an important tackle, and Ed Hasdall. And it's still Stirling Wolves through Craig Jackson. Now the captain, Marcus Holden. Can Stirling Wolves pull this one from the bag? Referee playing an advantage right out in front of the posts. McGee off to Craig Jackson, puts boot to ball, and just rolling the dice here, and that beats everybody into touch. But they had the penalty advantage, so back comes referee Rory Campbell. Now Stirling Wolves, should they wish, have the option for the penalty to take the draw here. Again, apologies with the loss of audio. Stirling, it would appear, not interested in a draw here. I've gone for the corner.
Yeah, it's a big decision, isn't it? Because Stirling have earned that try bonus. They've got their try bonus point. If they'd also taken the draw, they're potentially 3 points there. But yeah, fair play. They've gone to the corner. They want to go for the win here. And with their driving maul and their set piece, it's a real opportunity.
Gregor Hiddleston already with 1 try to his name. Finds his man in the middle. The ball works its way back to the Stirling Wolves hooker. The Heriot's defence holding firm for now, but now Stirling Wolves crabbing across field. Ball goes to deck. Has it gone legally? Out they come to the right. Craig Jackson, little goose step, and Jackson may well have gone over. He's dragged down just short. But Stirling Wolves again with a pick and go round the corner. Heriot's defence desperately trying to cling on to that 3 points advantage. Ball with Stirling Wolves, just a metre or so away from the Heriot's try line. Kyle McGee again waits in the forwards, coming round the corner. Long pass out to Hiddleston, and the hooker again goes very close under the shadow of the posts. McGee with the ball to his vice-captain Connor Gordon, once again stopped about half a metre short. Gregor Hiddleston desperate to get himself over that try line, somehow held up by Grant Hughes, driven back by the inside centre. And in comes Ben Smith, tries to win that ball for his side, but it's still Stirling Wolves in possession. Can they steal this game at the death? 2 minutes almost into injury time at the end of this game. Heriot's trying to cling on to that 3 points advantage. And it's Lewis Skinner. The tight head prop. Round the corner comes Ed Timpson. Stopped once more by the Heriot's defence. And up goes the arm the way of Heriot's Rugby. And they picked their moment. And they've stolen that ball. And that perhaps enough to win the game for the home side.
What a finish to this game. It's really went to the wire. Stirling with a brave decision to go to the line out, and for all money they must have been very close on a couple of occasions there to getting the ball over the line, but resolute defence by Heriot. And I think it was Ben Smith in the end that earned the turnover. He's been good since he come off the bench. Stirling just not able to get over that line.
Yeah, Ben Smith scoring the 5th try for Heriot's, and then picked his moment perfectly. And you could see the Stirling ball carry, you can see the 19 jersey on. He cut back inside, which of course is coming back in towards the jackler as Heriot's looked to jackal from the inside. So you could argue that the Wolves carry, rather than breaking out to the right there, instead cut back inside, but it still had to be won by Ben Smith. Break and play here. We're still waiting on an indication from the referee that time is in fact up. We've got 83 minutes on our clock.
You could see the gratitude expressed towards Ben Smith there by his teammates. They know how important that was. At the end of the day, if that's the match done, Heriot will come away with a try bonus regardless of how this match has gone, and they'll be very happy with that when they know that it could have went the other way just in the dying seconds of the match there.
The referee, Rory Campbell, his time back on. Bruce Houston will kick this one. There must be time left to play. 84 minutes on our clock, and we must be approaching last chance saloon. Well, of course it will be a Heriot's throw into the line out here from the penalty. So Stirling Wolves somehow have to get hands on this ball. I think they would challenge this one. Heriot's, I think, just need to be secure here and get the ball off the park. It's a loose throw, can't be taken. And rather fortuitously for the home side, it does come back and into the hands of Finn Campbell, who kicks the ball off of the field of play. Heriot's Rugby do survive a late onslaught from the visitors. They hold on to that 3 points advantage, It finished here at Goldenacre. Heriot's Rugby 34, Stirling Wolves 31.
Remains open tonight till 1 p.m. So if you're looking for somebody to watch the Stirling game, look no further.
Yeah, some game we had on our hands there. It went to and fro, and Heriot started very strongly and got themselves into a lead. Stirling relying on their set piece with a line out drive, and their scrum managed to pull themselves back into the game when it looked like the game was potentially getting away from them. Heriot's leading the majority of the match, all of the match in fact, and Stirling managed to get back in there and really force it to the wire at the end. And Heriot will be, as I said there, they'll be very grateful to get away with that one. They continue their winning streak after the first week, and Stirling, off the back of a close game and 2 bonus points last week, will get the same for their efforts this week against Heriot.
You see confirmation on your screen there of the full-time score at Goldenacre. Heriot's Rugby 34, Stirling Wolves 31. Quite incredible finish. And in our excitement, and I suppose the fact that we didn't really know who was going to come up or come out on top in that one, we've left it to the very end to decide on our player of the match. But who have you opted for, Lee?
Yeah, I think there was a few candidates, and as you said, Bruce, because it went to the wire, it could have swung either way. I thought Ed Hasdall was obviously very good for Stirling. The pack for Stirling, as we've mentioned, was the set piece, but Ed Hasdall got over the line on a couple of occasions and had a few powerful bursts throughout the game to get his team on the front foot. On the Heriot side, we mentioned him a lot. St John Broad was really good. Lewis Wells on the wing, really powerful and looked strong when he had the ball, but we've given player of the match. It has to go to Ian Wilson. A real captain's performance. He was instrumental at the back of the maul. He was defensively very good, especially leading into that last period of play when Stirling were knocking down the door, and I think an overall good performance by Ian Wilson. He got 2 tries to his name as well.
So our FOSROC Super Series player of the match, Heriot's Rugby captain and open side flanker Ian Wilson. So it's been an eventful match. We've got a fair bit to look back on. Let's go right back to the start of the game, and it was Ian Wilson who opened the scoring. Apologies, second half. You can see Ian Wilson breaking away there. He almost went over for the try, got the hand free, tried to offload. A huge hole there for St John Broad as he dived over 3 minutes into the second half.
Yeah, it was a great start to the second half for Heriot. They went in at half time knowing in their eyes they probably should have been further ahead, but they come out in the first 3 minutes there. It was a really effective driving maul. Ian Wilson just picked the right moment to splinter off, drawing in that short side, still in defence, and St John Broad gets an easy one to dot over.
Bruce Houston adds the extras. He'd been immaculate with the boot up to that point, and a penalty awarded at the other end of the field. At this point, Heriot's led by 10, 24 points to 14 from the penalty there. Stirling opted to go for posts. It was Marcus Holden, the captain, who already kicked 2 conversions in the first half. The tries by Ed Hasdall and Gregor Hiddleston, who made no mistake from out in front with his only penalty attempt of the day. And it's Heriot's Rugby 24, Stirling Wolves 17 at this stage. And then back came Heriot's. And once again, it was that man, that player of the match, Ian Wilson, who scored the first try of the day. He went over for his second and his side's fourth.
Yeah, and this one coming from the 50-22, Stirling struggling to exit from their half, and Ross Jones pinged them back with a 50-22. They managed to get their driving maul going, and that man Ian Wilson manages to get over again, and it put them into a commanding position at the start of that second half.
Bruce Houston, sights seemed to go off a little with his next 2 conversion attempts, so he was unable to add the extras. But Heriot's with a very healthy lead at this stage, but back came the visitors. Eric Davey, the scrum half, racing away and scoring his side's third try.
Yeah, and you could say against the run of play, Stirling managed to get out of their half by a whisker, and then managed to kind of really gain some momentum in their play, and they got down that short side. Ross McKnight with a good bit of work and an offload that just opened up the space for Eric Davey there as a good scrum half, tracking his winger, but good footwork as well to cut back inside and finish that off.
The conversion attempt by Marcus Holden was successful. It was a 5-point game at this stage. But then the new man Ben Smith crashed over for his side's 5th try. Conversion was missed by Bruce Houston, but at that stage Heriot's Rugby led by 10, and you felt they probably had the game in the bag.
Yeah, and at this point you could really see the increase in pace in their play. They were shifting the ball quickly, they were moving the point to target. Stirling were struggling to hold on, and Ben Smith, real impact off the bench, manages to get himself over before we see Ed Hasdell benefiting from just that strong platform of the Stirling scrum, managing to go over for his 2nd of the match as well.
And the conversion attempt by Marcus Holden was successful. You can see Hasdell picking up there, and the strength of the big number 8 through 2 tackles, crashes over the line, and Holden there narrowed the gap once again to 3 points, and then we had that incredible close to the game. They had the option to kick and perhaps go away with a draw, which would have taken another point from the game, but showing great ambition, opted instead to go for the corner, and then they had a few minutes down here when they went very, very close, but ultimately it was Ben Smith who scored a try at the other end on a turnover for his side, just a metre or so away from the try line, which won the game for Heriot's Rugby.
Heriot's breathed a sigh of relief there after Stirling kicking to the corner there and going through the phases and getting very close on occasion, but a really good turnover by Ben Smith that earns his team effectively the win.
We still had a minute to play at this stage, 3 or 4 minutes into injury time. Bruce Houston kicking upfield, but the ball won at the line out by Heriot's Rugby, and it was Finn Campbell who kicked the ball off the field of play, as referee Rory Campbell brought a halt to the action here at Goldenacre. Let's have a quick look at the other results this weekend. See last night Watsonians Rugby 33 points to 7 winners over Boroughmuir Bears, and then down at the Greenyards earlier this afternoon, Southern Knights trailed by 7 points to 26 at half time, outscoring the visitors by 17 points to 12 in the second half, but not enough to come back, and they ultimately lost 24 points to 38 against Ayrshire Bulls. And then an incredibly entertaining game at Goldenacre to round out our action for the weekend. Heriot's Rugby cling on at the end, 34-31 winners over Stirling Wolves. 5 tries to the home side, 4 for the visitors, who go home with a try bonus point and a losing bonus point. But it's Heriot's Rugby who take 5 points from this one in their 2nd game of the competition. So thank you to Lee, and I hope you've enjoyed our coverage of the FOSROC Super Series Championship this weekend. From all of us here at Scottish Rugby, thank you for watching.